Okay, hello everyone. We'll get started now. My name is Ann Morgan and I'm one of the co-founders, and I'll be hosting tonight's meeting of the 100+ Women Who Care Northern Door County. So this is a webinar style format, so we cannot hear or see you. Everyone is muted, but please feel free to use the chat or the Q&A features to ask questions. Gretchen, Courtney, and Ann Glesner will be monitoring that for us tonight. So welcome to our April meeting. And welcome to our new members. We have about 10 new members since our January meeting. And we really appreciate, thank you so much for joining us virtually. I know we all have Zoom fatigue, but hopefully we're all going to get together in July. We have it all reserved. We're planning on the Peg Egan Performing Arts Center in Egg Harbor. It's an outside venue, so we can meet safely, but we'll also continue to live stream for those who are interested in that. I want to do a couple of thank yous before we get started. And I want to thank all the presenters and the nonprofit representatives for recording the presentations and the Q&A sessions for us for this meeting. Great job, everyone. Well done. And thank you to the nonprofit vetting committee for their work and helping us screen through the applications and getting the nonprofits into the hat. And I want to thank the planning committee for this meeting tonight. Gloria Heck, Gretchen Courtney, Paula Latta, and Ann Glesner. Thank you all for the work you did to get this going tonight. And thank you to Spot. Jenny Bexel, who owns Spot, has been supporting us from day one. And we have a huge amount of gratitude for her continued support. So thank you very much, Jenny. And thank you to the Door County Community Foundation. They partnered with us to help facilitate our payment processing. And with their help, we've been able to offer the option to pay by credit card. So we're very thankful for all the work they do to help us. All right, we'll get started with the meeting. So our mission is to connect like-minded women to make a meaningful contribution to our local community. In supporting our mission, we have our core values. And underneath the picture, you can see community first. It's a nice way to remember our core values. So community, we want to create an inclusive community for affecting change. We want to be flexible, welcome feedback, new ideas, and for positive change. And we want to be impactful, be generous and selfless in making a difference. And we want to be responsible, good stewards of the funds we raise. And simple, we strive for clarity and consistency. And transparent, we want to be transparent with our members and our community. So our agenda tonight, we have Christina Studebaker is going to give us an update on the child care needs in Door County. And Amy Conley is going to give us an update on the Door County Food Pantry Coalition and Emergency Response Fund. Then we'll do our awards and the nonprofit drawing for next quarter. And new this virtual meeting, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end of the meeting. We'd like to test this feature so that when we go live, if people are using the webinar to join us, they are also able to ask questions of the people presenting for the nonprofits. So thank you for helping us test that out tonight. We're going to do that at the end of this webinar. Okay, now I'll turn it over to Christina. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, everyone. I'm happy to be here to give you an update on child care in Door County. There's a lot going on with child care, and so in 10 minutes or less, I am going to give you an update. So I've got a lot of slides. If you miss some information on a slide, do not worry. They are there to just supplement, provide some additional information. I'm happy to share them afterwards or talk in more detail. So do not worry if you miss something. And with that, we'll go on to the next slide, Ann. So in thinking about childcare in Door County, it's really easy, especially over the last year, to be thinking, wow, what a struggle it has been, what has happened. We're also working hard to take a forward, future-looking mindset with Door County, because that we want a sustainable approach to it, and we need to be paying attention to things today that impact us in the future. So just think about those questions for a minute. What do you want Door County to be in the future? And therefore, what should we be paying attention to? Next slide. We did a survey in November, which went to the general community. We partnered with the city of Sturgeon Bay with the software they have that sends it everywhere. So we weren't just relying on people that we've been talking with about childcare. And we posed this question to them, gave them a long list of issues and areas that they think might be important, and asked them to identify the top 3. And you can see here that the participants that we had, out of the 129 people who responded to the survey, they ranged in age from 20 to 85. They were 73% female and 27% male. But out of those, the top 3 were childcare, housing, and workforce attraction and retention. So even with going countywide and asking this question, childcare easily pops to the top of the list. And the next slide, please. We also looked at the overlap in these things. And so when we talk about this, it can be easy to feel like you're juggling between childcare and housing. Are you working on one without paying attention to the other? No, we are aware of the overlap in these issues and how they rise and fall together. And so we are working with community partners on housing as well as childcare and other issues to look to a brighter future in Door County. Although we're already very bright, we want to keep improving and things helping our community members. So next slide. So when it comes to childcare, people who work in the area of childcare and study it often identify 4 general issues by which the status of childcare is rated and how you think about it. And that's access to childcare. Is it available in the community? Affordability, how much does it cost, and how does that cost compare to what families in the area can afford? Quality, in terms of what the children are receiving, and then workforce, which is an area that often gets overlooked. So the childcare providers themselves, they are a crucial component of childcare, which you might think goes without saying, but they're often overlooked. So in this community aspirations survey, we had 4 questions that asked about these issues, and you can click Ann. On the last column, all you need to see here is that everyone thought all 4 of these aspects were very important. And on one vein, that's great for us. In another vein, that makes it challenging to decide where do we need to put some effort in order to improve things in the community. So next slide. So United Way has been working on looking at our childcare system, looking at where our strengths are, looking where there are challenges or things that can be improved upon. And we've been doing a lot of different things for the past 14 months. And this just gives you a sense of what we've been doing. And what I'm going to tell you, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into those 4 aspects of childcare, and just to give you a sense of the information that I report, where that's coming from. So next. The first thing we have is access. And as many of you may know, we have 3 licensed childcare group centers across the county: Northern Door Children's Center, Door Community Child Development Center, and Adventures Childcare in Brussels. Home-based providers can be certified. They go through a sort of approval regulation process. We have 2 of those. And then we have a host of uncertified home-based providers, which can be family members, friends, neighbors, other people who are caring for people's kids. Can you click that next one, please? So as you might know, when you think about availability or access pre-pandemic, pandemic, and post-pandemic, the 3 licensed childcare group centers together account for about 225 childcare slots. And the availability of that by the Door Community Child Development Center, the pandemic caused financial strain for the Barker Center that had been operated by the YMCA. And so we were down one child care center out of 3 a few months into the pandemic. And the community banded together and put a lot of effort into having another group fill that slot. And we were successful in doing that. And we're very happy that we were able to do that. That just shows the strength of our community. Can you click the next slide, please? But another thing that we need to pay attention to is availability versus need, and thinking about how many kids are there in Door County that need care. Whereas availability has gone up and down throughout the pandemic when people don't feel comfortable having others in their home, or their financial issues with the licensed group centers and their ability to be open. The kids are here and the kids need care. The US Census data tells us that we have about 1,000 kids in Door County that are 5 years old or younger. So we can estimate from that we have 5-year-olds are often in school, preschool, most of them are there. We've got about 800 that are 4 years old or younger. So when we've got 225 kids that are in the licensed child care group centers, a couple dozen others that are being cared for by home-based providers, we don't know how many what the nature of their care is for the uncertified home-based providers. So we are working hard to learn more about that part of the system. It is a crucial, essential part of childcare in our county. And we are looking to connect with people and learn more about that. So if anyone wants to talk more with me about that later, I'm happy to do so. Next slide. This is just some basic stats on what childcare costs at the licensed group centers in our county. And you may have known this, or you may not have, that it's equivalent per year, $10,000 to $12,000 is equivalent to 1 year's tuition at the University of Wisconsin-Madison in-state. So that's just what the numbers are. Next slide. There is a program through the state, Wisconsin Shares, that provides a subsidy to families, and there are eligibility requirements that go to that. The subsidy usually covers about 30% of the cost. So I'm also happy to provide more information about Wisconsin Shares if people want to learn more about that. Next slide, please. Quality, we're doing a very good job with quality across our county. This just gives you an idea, some more specific details about how we think about quality. Top of mind for a lot of people is safety and cleanliness, especially during the pandemic. But also there are these various aspects of development that trained childcare providers take into account with their lessons plans, and that's physical, cognitive, social, and emotional. Those things are very important, and we're doing a good job of that across the county with our providers. Next, please. So lastly, I want to talk about workforce, and I don't leave this last because it's least important. I'm talking about it last because I want it to be the last thing you think about and think about more after tonight's talk. So we have about 55 providers across the county in our 3 group centers. And then each of the centers has a director, center director. Out of our workforce, they're mainly females, 20 to 60 years old, and almost half of them have a post-secondary degree related to early childhood education. The hourly wage they make is about $14 an hour. That's striking. Yes, it is. And it's slightly above the state average, which is closer to about $12 an hour. And they also don't have healthcare retirement benefits. So those things contribute to staff turnover at the centers. I hear people say that being a child care provider is one of the most rewarding jobs, but is also one of the toughest jobs. It's the most important, but also one of the most underpaid, you might argue, jobs. So we are working hard to address workforce in our county. It's one of the most important things to have sustainable, high quality childcare in our county. We need more providers, and they have skills and knowledge that is not easily replaced. It takes training, takes experience, and a real special person. So we need to be recruiting those individuals to come to Door County. And that's why we also want to know more about the home-based providers. We really want to connect with them to learn more about how they're operating, how we can support them. Like I said, they are part of the childcare system, and we think about them just like in that way. So this takes us back to wrapping it up here. Last slide. What do you want the future to be, and what do we need to be paying attention to? We're working hard and reaching out to the community about the next steps, how we can improve the system, what are the things the community can get behind and support. And we have ongoing committee work, conversations, events, and we hope you can get involved. And anyone who wants to learn more, reach out to me at any time. Or Amy, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Christina. Now we'll turn it over to Amy.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Christina. Really, you guys can reach out to Christina if it's childcare related. So I was asked just to provide a little bit of an update on the Emergency Response Fund, which Brett had talked to us about last July or August, I believe it was, and then some information on the Food Pantry Coalition. So we're going to start with the Door County Emergency Response Fund. So since last March of 2020, we've had 681. I know last week we had a few more donors, but let's say 685 donors next contribute $1.1 million. So that is many of you, because I know as 100+ women, we were asked to contribute to the Emergency Response Fund. So thank you so much. The thing I want to point out about that number is that this is the second most raised in the state of Wisconsin from an emergency response fund. We are second to the Fox cities. They are at 1.6 million. So something to be very proud of. The generosity of Door County. Those of you who hear me talk about United Way, you know I say that frequently, but it's even more true with this emergency response fund. The generosity was just incredible. Next. So to date, we have given out 47 grants to 30 health and human service organizations. And we talk about health and human service organizations because that's phase 1 and phase 2 of the Emergency Response Fund. So that direct service to people, and then also to the organizations helping the people. So if they needed technology upgrades, if they needed plexiglass, PPE, those are the sorts of things that we covered. Next. So general category of grant funds to date. The big blue section there, food. So primarily that is the Door County Food Pantry Coalition. There were a few other food efforts, and the Door County Food Pantry Coalition started last April, the end of April. We brought that group together as the schools were starting to talk about what their food programs were going to look like for summer. And as we knew we would be winding down the Door Community Meals Cooperative. So the 8 pantries at that time, now we have 9. In the last month, we have another pantry, but the 8 pantries at that time came together, and they are responsible for making all of the decisions on how that food money is spent. So right now they are really focusing on keeping their pantry stocked. They're focused on the behind the scenes details for the Farmers to Families food boxes, organizing that. Also the Hunger Relief Federation, at times we're eligible to receive food from them, but that food can only get as far as Green Bay. So finding volunteers to get that food here and distributing that food to our pantries. We have been really fortunate that with lots of different federal relief bills that the families who we typically think of that are in poverty, that we might stereotype as using our food pantries on a regular basis, they've been getting a lot of extra assistance through their food stamps, their EBT SNAP card. Also, there's extra assistance. Any child that's been enrolled in free and reduced lunch, there's extra money coming into them on their SNAP card. And now we're hearing that there probably will be money available to any student's family through the pandemic EBT. So what we really see this blue section going to fund our ALICE population. They're the ones who typically don't qualify for assistance, but yet are really struggling. So when we have our food box pickups, on occasion, people have asked me about the type of cars coming through and wanting to make a judgment on a vehicle. And we remind people that these are people who probably are employed and they were able to purchase that car maybe 3 years ago. And now they're struggling to make that loan payment because they've probably had reduced hours during the COVID situation. So really looking at it through that lens of ALICE and how folks need to be accessing food in a different way. So as things wrap up with the Farmers to Families food program, we know that we're going to be relying on our pantries even more. So the pantries meet weekly and they through that food pantry coalition and really are making those plans on what they need to do to meet the needs of our community. Next slide. So this is just a fun little graphic of all the different things that we've supported to date. So you may have heard the Emergency Response Fund is moving into phase 3 of funding. So our arts, our environment organization, our museums, they are now eligible to apply for funding for anything that they either have purchased already and to be prepared to serve their community due to COVID, or things that they're going to have to purchase in the next few months to open for their season. So if you're a museum, you know, is it sanitizing stations? Is it having different ways to interact with your exhibit? If you're an arts organization, making sure your dressing rooms have proper ventilation and safety protocols. So those are the sorts of things now that the Emergency Response Fund has opened up their application for, but they still will be accepting applications for phase 1 and phase 2 and continuing to make sure that all of the health and human service needs are met. Next. And then just my contact information there. So again, a huge thank you. This group is the generosity of Door County. And that just continues to shine. So if you need to reach me ever, my email is amy@unitedwaydc.com. Christina's is christina@unitedwaydc.com. And you can reach either one of us at the phone number there. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Amy. So now we'll go on to our business update. And if you have changed any of your contact information, please let us know so we can make sure that you're receiving our emails when we reach out to you. And we wanted to let you know that our leadership team is on our website. So far, the board members are on there, and I'm working on getting the social coordinators up. And on each of their, for each of them, you can click on their email address so that you can email them directly. So I just wanted to let you know that you can reach out to any one of us, and we love your input. So thank you. And next, the questionnaire. There was a questionnaire that we sent out in early January, and I want to thank everybody that completed that. We're working on putting some quotes on our website to help encourage prospective members to join us, and so it's just really helpful. And if you've not already done so and would like to help us on this, the questionnaire can be found on our Join Us page of our website. Okay, on to the numbers. So this slide shows us the total number of members we have right now is 299, and that's down 1 from January. We were at 300. And pretty much over the last year and a half, we've hovered around 300 members, which is really great. And, I initially I was concerned that with the pandemic that was going to drop off, but it didn't. So that was wonderful. And what's interesting, we talk in terms of equivalence as far as how that translates to the quarterly awards, because each team is responsible for $100. So as we look at the bottom line, you can see it's the makeup of our membership that it gives us our total equivalent. So in April, we're at 197, and that's actually up 3 from January. So that's great. And if you have any changes to your team or thinking about making changes, let us know and we'll be glad to work with you on that. And also I want to put out there, if you know anybody that's looking for a teammate and wants to join, or let us know that, because sometimes we know about people that are interested that just haven't been matched up with somebody. So let us know that. So this brings our quarterly donation to 19,700 at this time. So, and not year to date, but since inception, we've actually donated $196,700 after tonight's contribution. So it's really exciting. In July, we're going to exceed $200,000, which is a fun milestone to meet when we all get together for our first live meeting after being virtual this whole past year. So great job, everyone. You really are making this happen by coming together. Just thank you for your continued support. And, also thank you for all the other things you do to lift up our Door County community. It's really appreciated. This is a reminder that on our website homepage, we have 3 red buttons that I always like to point out. So there's a join us. If you know anybody interested, refer them to our website. They can click on the join us and that'll help them get to where they need to sign up. And then there's a nominate a nonprofit, really easy to nominate. Nominal amount of information is needed to get that process going. And also the button, if you want to donate with a credit card, that donate button will take you where you need to be, excuse me, to be able to donate with your credit card. And this is a social update from our social co-chairs, Faye Germain and Susie Cotter. They're in the middle of this slide. So Faye's on the left and Susie's on the right. Adorable picture. Okay, and there was, they sent me something to read to all of you. Hello, friends. We'd like to remind you that we are planning on representing 100+ Women Who Care again in this year's 4th of July parade at Egg Harbor on Sunday, July 4th. As you can see from the photos, we had a great time in 2019. We'd love to have a large group, the more the merrier. So please consider walking with us. We will wear our 100+ WWC t-shirts again. And for those of you who don't have one of our t-shirts, we do have some left. It's easy. Just meet us at the north end of Church Street around 12:30 on Sunday the 4th to line up. So look for updates and further details on our Facebook page for the 100, and also feel free to contact us with questions. Thank you, Susie Cotter and Faye Germain, your social co-chairs. All right, thank you, Susie and Faye, for that. Okay, tonight's awards. Our main award will be about $10,000 and our runners-up around $4,900 of each. So I have the tilde for approximately for the first time, and that's because this meeting is the first time we're doing the 50%, 25-25 split for the award. And that's what we voted on when we had our last vote. And it's real similar to what we've been doing all the past year. So it's not going to look a lot different. All right, so the main award goes to, drum roll, Women's Fund of Door County. So congratulations to the Women's Fund. And congratulations to our runners-up, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Door County, and Good Samaritan Society, Scandia Village. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you for all the wonderful work that you do. For our members, payment options are either by check or online with that wonderful donate link. And remember, the nonprofits aren't paid until after all the funds are received. So please get your payment in as quickly as possible. Okay, we're on to the hat drawing. Now I'm gonna step out of the picture here. My daughter Natalie's gonna step in. I'll hold the hat and she is going to pick out our next 3 nonprofits.
All right. Hey, everyone. All right. Into the hat here. All right. First one is Door County YMCA. Yay. Number 2. The Door County Housing Partnership. And last one, Door County Humane Society.
Okay,
All right, there you go.
okay. Thank you, Natalie, and congratulations to all of those nonprofits. And that will be at our next meeting on July 19th, once again at the Peggy Egan Performing Arts Center, and they'll be live streaming. All right, so we're at our Q&A time. So we're going to open this up for questions now. And the way this will work is if you have a question, use the raise your hand feature, the little hand at the bottom, or the chat to get our attention. And then Ann and Gretchen, they'll chat with you and then work with you to give you access to be able to speak. So we still won't be able to see you, but we'll be able to hear you. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Ann and Gretchen to manage that.
A couple of times in the presentation tonight, the acronym ALICE was used. What does that mean?
So that is asset limited, income constrained, employed. And Christina had done a presentation on Alice to this group a few months ago, but maybe you missed it, Peggy, but Christina can add more information there if you'd like.
Yeah, that acronym is one that I appreciate that work is being done on that group. And I think it's one of the most unmemorable acronyms ever. It basically means people who are working and still struggling to get by. So with childcare, we talk about the childcare providers, the wage that they earn, and their demographics put them in that category of people who are working and still struggling to make ends meet.
Okay, that helps a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Peggy. I'll put you back on mute. Now everyone's afraid to ask questions because of the video.
Well, I mean, should we go on? I mean, we got a task and we learned that. So thank you all. We can carry on here. And we want to leave you with this quote from Madame Curie: "One never notices what has been done. One only sees what remains to be done." So that's all for now, everyone. Stay well, and we'll see you in July. All right, thank you.